Kentucky tornadoes, babies in bathtub. Tornadoes have been recorded all over the world, but the United States experiences around 1,000 of them each year, which is far more than anywhere else on the planet. The atmospheric conditions are just right for massive, tornado-spawning thunderstorms. The resulting tornadoes leave a trail of destruction in their wake, often with deadly consequences. Tornadoes are the definition of meteorological caprice. They can obliterate one home while leaving the neighboring household untouched. They can drive straw blades through a 2x4 but spare flowers in the garden with petals unruffled. Some funnels, perhaps the width of a school bus, can ravage a narrow path, while others can grow to be mile-wide buzzsaws. In this video, we will talk about the Kentucky tornado, which changed the lives of many. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel to see our latest content. Without further ado, let's begin the video. Clara Lutz lived in Hopkins County. She would stay at home with her grandchildren, 15-month-old Caden and 3-month-old Dallas. Because of the children's busy parents, Clara frequently babysat her 2 infant grandchildren. She would feed them, bathe them, and keep them engaged so they wouldn't miss their parents. She enjoyed spending time with her grandchildren. On December 2nd, Clara planned to take both her grandchildren for a shower. She placed both of them, one by one, in a bathtub with a pillow and a Bible. The weather seemed nice and cold, so it was better to bathe both babies and take them to bed. While preparing to open the tap, Clara heard a rumble. She stopped and tried to listen to the sound that was increasing. She felt like it was an earthquake because the whole house was moving. She could hear things falling in her home. The window mirrors shattered, and with that, she heard a massive explosion on her roof. She quickly tried to take both babies out of the bathroom, but then something just hit her head, and she fell on the bathroom floor. The pain was so extreme that she felt like there was a bump on the back of her head. For a few minutes, she couldn't understand what happened, but then she heard both babies crying. Clara was hit in the back of the head by the water tank from the tub. She saw that the tub had been lifted. That's when she realized it wasn't an earthquake, but a tornado that hit her house. Air rushed into her home through the busted windows, filling the structure with pressure like an inflated balloon. The internal pressure pushed up against the ceiling, joining the uplift on the roof from the outside gales, putting pressure on the roof. The relatively weak connections between the top and the walls gave way, and the roof blew off. The homes in Kentucky were not designed to withstand tornadoes. The bathroom wall was shattered, and the tub was not there anymore. Her heart began to pound, and the fear of losing her grandchildren grew. She began to yell and cry in fear and pain. Despite her head injury, she was trying to find her grandchildren. She thought the babies would be crying, so it would be easy to find them, but the tornado's grumbling made it challenging to find them. In the first few seconds, the tornado pummeled her house with ragged debris, shattering windows and tearing off the roof decking, and it only got worse from there. The tornado strike showed how powerful it was. She could see the tornado's damage to the trees and houses from the broken walls. She could still feel the strong winds and bizarre pressure gradients of a tornado that tore a house apart second by second. But right then, there was a massive electricity breakdown in the city. She couldn't see anything around her, and it was very difficult for her to get out of the bathroom because there was wreckage everywhere. Clara heard screams coming from her neighbors' houses and people asking for help. The storm system tore through parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Illinois, and Kentucky, destroying a number of western Kentucky towns in its path. When the tornado calmed down, she began looking everywhere among the wreckage for her grandchildren. Her house was stripped to the foundation. She was praying for her grandchildren's safety, but there was no sign of them. She wanted to contact the parents of the babies, but had no idea where her phone was. Clara began to cry. She didn't want to imagine what would have happened to them. She loved them and wanted them to be safe, but felt like they were no more. It wasn't just her. The whole city was in mourning that day. The death toll continued to fluctuate from the same night's devastating swarm of tornadoes. Andy Beshear of Kentucky said 74 confirmed deaths in his state were the most brutal hit, though he predicted that the number would increase as crews searched the ruins. "We expect that this death toll will continue to grow," the governor said in an afternoon news conference. He said that at least 109 people in Kentucky were considered unaccounted for, but quickly added that in looking at county reports, the actual number had to be way more. 7 children were killed, including 2 infants and a 4-year-old, according to a release by the coroner's office in Warren County. The youngest victim was a 5-month-old baby, but there was still no sign of Cladden and Dallas. As soon as the rescue team reached the scene, Clara told them about her grandsons who were in the bathtub when the tornado hit. The team searched for both babies for hours, but moving the wreckage was difficult. Because there was no electricity, the rescue mission was delayed. They were using emergency lights to find the babies. After hours, a glimmer of hope emerged when they found the bathtub. The bathtub was found in the yard upside down. It was mainly broken and covered with leaves and dirt. As soon as Clara saw the tub, her heart began to pound fast and she began to pray. She was not ready to hear any bad news. "Lord, please bring my babies back safely. Please, I beg thee." One of the rescue team members was holding the emergency light while the others were removing the pile of dirt from the tub. They were trying their best to dig through the accumulation of dirt and get the babies out safely. They couldn't hear a sound, making them feel that the babies may not have survived. After a few minutes, one of the rescue members found a signal of coughing or breathing somewhere closer. He started yelling, "There's a sign of life here." Other rescue members hurried to the scene and began to dig in a pile. Half of the bathtub was broken, while the other piece looked okay. The rescue team saw the legs of the baby while his body was still inside the tub. The baby didn't make any sound and was lying there quietly. The baby began to cry as soon as the team flashed a light on his face. It was Caden. He looked exhausted and sleepy. There were no major injuries to his body. The rescue team quickly covered him with a blanket and informed the backup team that they had found one of the babies who needed to be driven to the hospital to see if there were any internal injuries. Once again, the team was back to its mission to find 3-month-old Dallas. It took them a little while to find him. They discovered his legs peeping out of the blanket rolled around his face and body. They quickly tried to uncover his face to find out if he was breathing. Dallas had a big bump on the back of his head. He was bleeding and had bruises on his face. It took him several minutes to gain consciousness. He needed medical attention. The rescue team was amazed to see that both babies came out alive. The sheriff came down and Clara got in the sheriff's car at the end of her driveway. They opened up the door and brought her Caden and baby Dallas. She didn't know what was wrong with Dallas. The sheriff told her that they needed to drive to the hospital. They had to rush both babies to the Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville. Clara hugged both babies and cried bitterly. She kept repeating, oh God, thanks, oh God." Dallas' brain was bleeding, but the bleeding stopped before Clara got to the hospital. The doctor said it was a minor injury and it would take him a few days to heal. The parents of the children lived on the north end of the county and their home was nearly untouched by the tornado. Andy Beshear of Kentucky said that the recovery ahead was long and arduous. At least 1,000 homes have been damaged or destroyed, officials have estimated. Mr. Beshear said that state parks were providing free housing to those whose homes were uninhabitable. Power was still out for over 48 hours for more than 25,000 customers, and a full accounting of the damage was far from complete. The tornado caused massive devastation, killing many people and children. The governor choked up during his briefings when describing the deaths of children or the scale of destruction. The pain of seeing the people and children suffering was so difficult that even the state's First Lady, Brittany Beshear, began to speak about a toy drive for the families affected by the storm. She was overwhelmed and unable to continue. The governor had to pick up where she had stopped. A candle factory in the town was completely crushed in the storm. An estimated 110 people were at work there when the tornado hit. For days, it was unclear how many had made it out. The governor told reporters that Kentucky State Police investigators were working through a list of employees provided by the company to confirm the tally given by the company. This would, he said, be the Christmas miracle we hope for, but we have to make sure it's accurate. This was one of the deadly tornadoes that erupted under the cloak of darkness and may have set the record for the longest continuous tornado in American history. The devastating outbreak, which included more than 30 tornado reports across 6 states, stretching across the Mississippi Valley, Southeast, and Midwest, is also a sporadic event this late into the year. Clara and the babies were lucky to survive the deadly tornado. It has been a year since the incident, and Clara still can't forget that day. She is thankful that both her grandchildren are healthy and safe and prays for those who have lost their lives. That's a wrap for today. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel to see our latest content.